It's already nighttime out, so you get up quickly. And a few minutes later, excuse me, a few dad sneezes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 5. Here we go. Let's do this. What's up, everybody? My name's Gummy Rum Jim. Welcome to the call. I gotta find my freaking audio, right? I don't know, this person. I'm gonna go look at one of these points of interest real quick since it's cool to see. I think maybe it's a good idea to do as a night. You feel a yawn moving its way up your body. Don't do that. It's not good for you. What did that say? PlayStation? Did I press a button to ruin that? Hello? Okay. I'm gonna You park your taxi across from the stadium, just a few meters from a two-story building. That is Charlotte. You get out of the car and walk to the front door. You knock. You wait a few minutes, lights come on, and the door finally opens. Marco appears. Marco is a former taxi driver, a strange guy, a bit spacey and different. He's been working at the stadium for a few years now. Well, shit. You're still alive. That's Marco. You like him. I mean, wow. Nice to see you. Even though he stole your wife. Come in, come in. You want something to drink? Oh, right. You stopped drinking. Cup of coffee? Yes, please. I'll always take a cup of coffee. You follow him into his caretaker's home. It's pretty nice, despite the mess and filth. He serves you a cup of coffee and sits down at a table. You follow suit. The only noise in the room is the TV behind Marco. Before you came by, he was playing a soccer video game. The fans are singing and clapping their hands. So, what have you been up to? I have some questions for you. He shakes his head. No, not yet, man. Seriously, no. The last time I helped you out, I'd lost my job, so the answer is no. You have no choice, and you know it. You owe me this much. Marco drops his head between his shoulders. He starts to beg. I'm telling you, man, I love this job. It's so easy. I get to take care of the stadium that's empty like 75% of the time. He sits up roughly in his chair. Behind him on the screen, the stadium is going wild. I need information on Ronan Basson. He straightens up. Ronan? The coach that got killed by the judge? The very one. He was a great guy. Everyone's torn up about it. So spit it out. There are rumors. Some parents heard that he was a little too hands-on with the kids a while back, if you get my drift, but no one ever looked into it. Was it true? I don't know nothing. He sighs. A few months ago, Ronan cornered a kid, like, by the showers, you know what I mean? The kid stabbed him in the thigh with a pair of scissors and ran away. The kid's parents weren't sure whether they'd file a complaint. The club director brought Ronan in, and bam, 2 days later, no one, I think. Well, maybe some other parents. I don't know. You get up. One last thing. Give him the name of the victims. You list the victims. He doesn't react until you mention Charles Bougrain. Oh yeah, him. I know him. I mean, everybody knows him. Right-wing extremist son of a bitch. Hold on, what are you doing these days? I can't say. Marco sits up. His voice speeds up. Don't tell anyone when you got this information, okay? Sip your coffee in silence. Marco looks away. You can really be an ass sometimes. A vuvuzela voice comes from the TV. Okay, I gotta run. He walks you to the door, mumbling with clenched teeth. Every time I run into you, you jinx me. Every single time. You walk outside and over to your taxi. Door, key, motor purring. You go back to work. Charles Bougrain, right-wing son of a... See, speaking of right-wing sons, there's that journalist dude. Let's look down here, though, because I really see... This person looks like my... it's be Claudia, right? One of our suspects. This looks like it might be Paolo. Thing is, I can't see until I drive to it. So, let's get this guy first. Ugh. I'm not sure I like this guy at all. He's like, turns, my good fellow. The passenger getting into your taxi is the famous polemicist Francois de la Nerie, who you've driven home before. Start driving. Are you bothered at all by all these protest marches? His question washes over you. You forgot that during the day, people were holding protests. I work nights. There's not much chance they'd come to protest at 3 a.m., eh? It's not really surprising, actually. They want to make change, but only when it's convenient. Not during vacations, not on weekends, not at night. They make fun of us in other countries. France, the land of strikes, the land of protest marches. This country is filled with jackasses. Protest nonetheless. I know what you mean. But they protest nonetheless. What do you mean by that? I mean, they certainly do like to protest. But actually, most of the word in edgewise, he starts in again. I'm sorry for using the accent for that part. That's narration. Spit flies from his mouth as he disappears somewhere on the back seat. Gross. Ugh. Sorry, I was trying to focus on what the fuck is going on here. This guy really frazzles me, by the way, if you can't tell. This whole, I can't stand people like this. Strike all the time. Actually, we hella did. He snickers his notebook, and he begins to write. Strike. Protest. Unrest. While businessmen and manufacturers are working around the clock. French mirror and decide too much from life and bite off more than they can chew. He catches his breath. Froth begins to form at the corners of his mouth. And meanwhile, the world keeps turning. And while the strikers twiddle their thumbs, workers are working. No, struggling to get the job done. That's better. Idiotic protest marches. The Frenchest thing and the stupidest. We have to look the masses in the eye and say, you do not own the streets. You shall not wield them like weapons. He suddenly raises his eyes to look at you. They are unfocused, and his complexion deathly pale. Are you on the windshield? I just remember that I once marched. It just came back to me like an old childhood memory. Says to Paris. I can picture the banners, the songs, and the people's faces. There were so many of us. We got up at dawn, thousands of us, and we marched toward the capital. Our pures rose up. Hitching for. It was a cry from the heart of the right for high-quality religious education while France was being crushed, logically purged, completely decimated. It was the end of parochial schools. The end of our culture as we knew it. His voice trembles. I'm not going to say a damn word about this one. I'm just going to let him keep going. Your passenger slowly sinks into a strange funk. Ride until you reach his destination. He sighs contentedly as you pull the taxi up along the face. And I mean the real left, eh? Hey, Francois, what up? I mean, I never thought I'd fucking expect that to himself, and he walks toward the front door of his building. What a lovely night. Good luck to you tomorrow. With all these protest marches, it's gonna be a messy one. He's gone before you have the time to remind him that you only work nights. You notice a newspaper on the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind, or the one before. You grab it and put it away. Could come in handy. You start driving. I've noticed several times that it might come in handy, and I still don't know for me, so... Is that one of my dudes? No. I really want to find one of my freaking... I will literally... It's probably gonna hurt me on time and gas to each other. Okay, no biggie. It's not my suspect. 13th errand properly. The passenger getting into the cab smells like this about her. She gives you her address, and you start the car. They settle into an unsurprising standard conversation. Climate change, politics, the price of real estate in Paris. But then, someone is the serial killer. You lean in to listen. A rumor. Could be of help. The passenger pulls out her every now and then. That was really weird. They used a they line, and I wasn't sure what they were talking about. Was that that's weird. She's clearly upset, uneasy, sad. All of a sudden she speaks to you. She has a deep, soft-spoken voice. Excuse me. Nice evening. Seem a bit subject. No. Really? She gives you a smile. Personally, I'm one of those people, I think that you are trying to build a, she immerses herself in her telephone and quickly types a message that she immediately sends. There. I'll just have to wait and see. She sighs. I really liked meeting that girl. Super nice. And there are so many people in Paris, too. You should see them. I do a lot of work in law firms. They're bursting with attractive women, but there's so much shame and denial. Most are uncomfortable. Get it when you're 20, but it wasn't any better when I was 20, right? I'm surprised, that's all. And fed up. She's oversharing. Sorry, I don't know why I'm telling you. Don't worry about it. Her eyes light up. Thanks for listening. When I got to Paris, I thought I was going to meet a nice group of women at last. To go out and have fun. All I found was more of the same. Girls who are inhibited, hung up, afraid, who don't want to commit. That girl tonight, she just wanted to go out for a drink because she was so late. She didn't have anything to do at home, so she didn't put it that way, of course, but I knew. So my friends who are older talk about the bars they went to back in the day, the underground scene, glances exchanged in the... Here it is, her text. Glad to have met you. Her voice trails off. But it's best if we leave it at that. She pauses. Signed, woman raising. She turns her face away, eyes glued to the passing scenery. Yup. I'm sorry. Was imperceptible nod of her head, her eyes fixed intently on the road. Thanks. Luckily, there are the dating apps. We talk, try to get to know each other. Sometimes we can't help it, and we sleep together out of sheer necessity. But our real needs... She falters. You're near the address your passenger had given you. Her face clouds over. She lets out a sigh. You park in front of her building, she warmly, but is unable to open the car door as if her strength had deserted her. Sorry. I just need a second. Another second. She nods, almost imperceptibly. Okay then. Emoji woman raising hand says goodbye. She gives you a smile and gets out of the cab. Your eyes follow her as she walks over to her building. A moment later, she's gone. Like, I'm really to help all these people. I'm just bummed that none of them are my freaking suspect. But probably check out, so I'm gonna let it ride. Tomorrow, one of the sites. A few cars are headed. Pingenol. You suddenly feel the car vibrate, and you hear a loud thump. Did you just hit something? No, wait, of course. Flat tire. You let out an audible sigh erupt as you... Yep, flat tire. It never happens. So, glowing through the rain, floating above the road. As you walk closer to the taxi, you notice a sticker. This taxi belongs to your boss's fleet. A free ride to the depot could be useful. A voice bursts through the closed windows. Needs a ride, monsieur? I'll do a touch of a French accent. I'm sorry, I just want to remember the last time you were a passenger. Well, yes. You open the door to what feels like an alternate reality and hop into the back seat. Cold out tonight. You've never seen her before. Not that you're very social with the other drivers, but it is strange. It sure is. She starts up the engine. The sound it's the same as yours, but hearing it in the back seat is uncanny. Where to, monsieur? The taxi depot. I thought I recognized you. You don't exactly go to don't we? You cannot for the life of you recognize this woman. Her name's Natalie. You just read it on a file. I managed to score a flat tire somehow. She gives you an empathetic look. Ouch, never fun. So back to the depot first. Company policy? No? But I like the gesture. Of course. She's chosen an unusual route to your destination, but for once you're not worried about that. For once, you're simply... I wanted to know, what happened? She knows. She knows something. I mean, if you want to talk about it, of course. I was attacked. And I'm looking for the person who did it. She gives you a concerned look. I've had my fair share of revenge in life. It's not always as sweet as you'd expect. I have no choice. The words stumble around in your head. It's none of my business anyway. My kids are always complaining that I'm too nosy. Speaking of which, do you have kids? Yes. Sort of. It's complicated. They're a lot of work, but they make things interesting. Especially when they have kids of their own. I can imagine. Ooh, I know what that's like. You instinctively cross your arms and warm yourself. Lucky. If they knew what happened, they probably wouldn't feel lucky. It's in silence. You notice her wipe a tear away from her face. What's wrong? She looks back at you with shame in her eyes. I'm sorry. She sniffles quietly. The thing is, I retired a few years ago. Last month I went back to your... He refused. A woman in her 70s shouldn't be driving, he said. Gone is her warm, welcoming voice, replaced with one filled with 6 to 12 months, the doctor said. She tuts. So I made a list. She stops. You don't know if it's a pause or if she can't talk. I'm 72. I'm not going bungee jumping. I'm not divorcing my husband and going out dancing. The item on my list was to keep driving people around, to keep working, to be able to support my family. She smiles, but you can hear tears in her voice. That is what I do. I drive people to where they want to go. That's basic and stupid, but that's my job. I'm going to spend here on Earth being me. My sister is furious with me. She calls me selfish for not spending time with my kids and grandkids. It's just... Outside the car, a flock of pigeons escape a drunk teenager. He's wielding some kind of stick. I don't want nobody's sympathy. I don't want them to remember me as a frail old lady wasting away. 6 to 12 months left to live, not to sit around sobbing. It's fair. I agree. It's only fair. After all these years, being a taxi driver wasn't my dream, you know? I was studying law when I met my husband. We married young, had kids quicker than you can say contraceptives. She smiles. I don't regret any of it, though. I've had a great life. You've arrived at the depot. And I hope you do too. You look her in the eye. She's happy. No matter what the future might hold for her, she's happy now. But something else is lingering. Thank you. She pouts. Bah! It's nothing. The pleasure was all mine, Alfred. Go now. I have paid customers waiting for me. I've got to finish before 6. After that, cops are everywhere. You step into the depot and head toward the supply room. You ignore the other drivers. They don't matter. They never mattered to you anyway. That's rugged and mean. Supplies in hand, you begin to walk back to your taxi. It's quiet out and freezing and lonely. You like it. You think you recognize someone in the street. He looks like... No, not him. You'll never see him again. A few minutes later, the spare tire installed, you're back behind the wheel. You lost a lot of time. You sigh. How did I lose? Why did I head to that fair? That was not the way I should have gone. Probably should put gas in the car. There's one fare left. There's 2 fares, but I got time for 1 fare left, I think. Time permitting. Maybe. Grail. The door opens. It's Herve, a homeless man, like hundreds of others in Paris. You've known each other for years, and every now and then he asks a favor of you, to drive him someplace. As usual, he greets you quietly, though he's always it seems a little on edge. Hey, buddy. What's up, pup? He has a strange verbal tick that you've never really understood. You start the cab. Herv seems pretty happy with himself today. In the rearview mirror, you watch a good meal. He catches your eye and smiles. Sorry, I'm a bit out of it today. So I see. It's just, I had a bad week. You know, a really bad week. Then yesterday... He hesitates, as if he can't believe what he's about to say, like it's too good to be true. The lines around the corners of his eyes that show his real age crinkle slightly. Herv gives a little laugh. Serious, man, I don't believe in God, you know? I don't believe in all that bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. Some guy with a beard up in the sky, I never got it. What people saw in him? Anyhow, God, none of us believe in him on the street. His eye, wait, we believe when the soup kitchen goes to the church. Yeah, sure, we believe in him then. He flashes his teeth and lets out a harsh, raspy laugh. A pause. He's observing you. His eyes light up all of a sudden. Oh, yeah, yesterday. He's talking faster now, an incessant flow. I was gone through all the garbage bins in the neighborhood. Toby, he's this German guy. He says he prefers France, that we're more generous here. So I was starving. Herv's eyes tear up. His voice drops off. A faraway look comes over him. A lengthy pause. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let him keep talking. Silence hangs in the air until he murmurs. It's just... He snaps out of it. Yeah, like I was saying that, yeah, I was starving. I was hanging out near the supermarket on Rue Rameau. Fancy neighborhood. Ops. That's always a plus. And then there was like this guy I sometimes see around, a young guy, just like a kid. He comes out of the supermarket with his groceries, and before I even say a word, he hands me a can of Coustelet. A can of Coustelet as big as a beach ball. Herv's face lights up. I didn't even know they made them that big. Herv busts out laughing, and his eyes wander back to the street. And then? And then what? But I don't know. What's the whole story? Your passenger stares at you for a minute. A 3-meal can of Coustelet. Casseling. Pats you on the shoulder. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna get out here if you don't. You park the cab as soon as you see an empty space. Thanks, man. He's looking out the window. Yeah, I think that's him. That's him. Who? Nothing. Without another word, he opens the door and gets out. Into a dark alley. I'm gonna sit here for a minute. Your eye scans the dark, narrow street, but you can't make anything out. Herv, now at a run. The form darts under a street lamp. It is Herv, holding something in his hand. He immediately vanishes from sight. You sit there a minute, and then you switch on the ignition and pull out of the parking space. Damn it, Herv. No money and no time. Killing me. It's time to head home, probably. They're going to tell me. You met Veronique? Veronique? I don't know how to say that. Veronique faced a negative answer during your trip? Oh. That's right, because I did that. I told her to text the person back. Natalie was your cab driver? Herv. You take a few minutes to update your board with your new clues. A bus goes by, making the walls shake. It's time to get moving on your investigation. Nothing new, as far as I can tell. No one's left me anything. I've learned nothing about the killer. This person, I thought that was who I was picking up when I was picking up Veronique, but it was not. Person has been removed from our... Why is... Okay, wait. Weapon police gun from the 70s somehow brings us over here. Paul-Marie Fragonard. Retired cop. Joined. Divorced from judge. Born in the French Antilles. Moved to mainland France. Okay. So he's an ex-cop who got here in the 70s. Was married to a judge himself, divorced the judge. Almost certain from 2 sources that the killer's height is 180. I don't know, man. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You lie down on the sofa bed. Its frame creaks. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. And you fall asleep. We're going to leave this one here. Bye, everybody. My name is Gummy Worm Jim. This has been Night Call. Thanks for tuning in.